Sit here.
Drip Eliante pulling up, feeling like Harry Belafonte. Look at my racks, feel like Serena when hit from the back. Swing, pull like Jim, waves on swim, and a rock Timbs with the tip. Butterfly doors on the Tesla, I ain't spend shit on gas.
$150, I be at the stripping club.
All right, I just got to the pump track. You can see it behind me. I'm going to the porta potties, to the bathroom because I gotta pee. And then we're just gonna pump around for a bit. Yesterday was leg day. I feel like a little pump track sesh. I don't know, I was on the live stream, we talked about racing, and then I was like, oh, I wanna go ride the pump track. And so now I'm gonna go ride the pump track. Kind of got me hyped to ride. But you always gotta pee before you ride. That's like how you start the sesh. So, hey, it's a pretty clean, check it out. Pretty clean, not bad, not bad. All right. It's fun. It's a little sketchy because we got some gravel next to this, so if you don't keep your tires on the track, game over. But I know a lot of you guys are working on manuals, you're working on bunny hops, you're working on all that stuff, and one thing that's really overlooked is pumping. Pumping is how you carry your speed throughout the skate park, dirt jumps, even street. You're gonna pump all the time, and so really I'm gonna just put you guys on my chest, pretend you're here with me, and give you some tips on how to pump. So anyway, I'll just talk through it while I'm doing it. Thank you guys so much for being Patreon members and helping support the Dougsterbob mission. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you get some value from this pump track session with me. So I'm gonna throw you on my chest, I'm gonna pump around, I'm gonna warm up, which is the first thing you need to do. You gotta warm up or you're gonna feel like you're gonna die, and nobody likes to die. So that's what we're gonna do first. Hey there, puppy. Whew. Guys, literally one pump around, I'm gassed. But what I want to point out here, I'll do it while I'm cruising through them, but each bump is different. Each roller is different. And very rarely are you going to find them exactly the same. So for example, this first one up here, coming up at it is very small. The next one's bigger, but it's also steeper. And then the one after that is also steeper, but it's a little smaller. You're gonna have to notice those things. You're gonna have to notice, okay, this one's smaller, but it's kind of mellow. This one's steep. And the way you're gonna hit a mellow roller versus steep roller is quite a bit differently. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, when you're pumping a roller, it's all the same. But for example, this one, I don't have to try very hard. This one, I have to really make sure that my weight pops up sooner. So I need to make sure on that second one that I lift my weight and I de-weight myself sooner than I do on the first one, or even this one's mellow. If you look, I don't know if you can see all those there, but look at some of those. So those three are raised quite a bit more than that one on the far right and those two on the far left. And the biggest tip I've got for you guys who are going out riding pump tracks, first, notice the obstacles. Notice that everyone, bro, you're gonna get run over, Joey. Notice that everyone's a little bit different. And therefore, the way that you're gonna hit them is also going to be different. If I go fast, she can't keep up with me, and it's okay. But when I go slow, she can keep up. Because I actually jumped a few of them. And like I had the speed, I de-weighted myself enough, pushed my chest forward enough to carry me through to the second roller, right? And that's a new one for me. That's something I'm trying to work on consciously, is get better at these pump tracks. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see how this looks from the side. What I really want to do is just kind of show my body weight while I'm going over these. So let's set this up right here and just get a few shots of that. I just set the camera up to get a nice shot of me hitting these three rollers because I want to walk you guys through what you're doing when you're hitting the rollers. She's being crazy right now. The whole basis of pumping is you're using your body weight to leverage the bumps. Use your body weight, leverage the bumps. And so, like I said earlier on this steep one that Joey's on, this is a steep one, Joey's on it. The way I de-weight my body is gonna be different than how I de-weight my body on this. And the reason for that is that this is steep. And so what I'll show you in the video from that is when you're coming at a roller, you're compressed. On your way up the roller, you're uncompressed and you're taking your weight off the pedals. So if I jump up in the air, my feet aren't on the ground, my weight's not on the ground. And you're really doing that over the roller. On your way up, you're compressed, your feet are on the ground. On your way over it, you're uncompressed and that weight is coming off. And so therefore the bike can smoothly float over it without killing your speed. Now, when you're going back down, you're throwing your weight back down because that weight is pushing into the ground and it's gonna give you more speed off this downhill. So if I just cruise down this hill nice and smooth, that's fine. But if I throw my weight into it with it, it's gonna send me going a lot more. And so you're constantly going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down while you're going over these rollers. And like I said, the way you do each one's a little bit differently, but that's the gist of it. So you need to work on that next. You figured out your obstacles, you figured out, oh, we got this roller here, we got this roller here. This one's steep, this one's mellow, cool. Now, figure out how to de-weight your body and weight your body in a way that gives you speed. All right, so coming up to this first one, I'm compressed, uncompressed, compress, uncompressed, compress, uncompressed, compress, uncompressed. You get the gist. You can see with my chest, how my chest is moving on these. She's gonna be real tired. But what I was saying in there, and I was going too fast to like really make the point, but I think you guys got it. Compressed before it, uncompressed on the way up, compressed on the way down. It's just like that. When you're doing the first one, you're compressed before it. On the way up, you're uncompressing. You're de-weighting your bike so your bike can roll over that. Right where you're about to start rolling down, you compress. Throw that weight back down. Now you stay compressed until you start to go up the next one. Then you go up a little bit and then compress, uncompress, 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 compress, uncompress. Try and say that 50 times fast. It's impossible. But yeah, so that's the gist of pumping, right? Now, when you get fancy with it, you're gonna start gapping these, you're gonna start manualing them. And sometimes, so that steep one in the middle, for example, if I'm coming at that fast and I'm doing what I've been doing, you know, uncompress, compress, I've got to change my timing up. And that's the next thing I want you guys to notice. When I'm going over that steep one, I'm uncompressing a little bit sooner so that my bike can flow up before the steep part. If I start to uncompress a little bit late, that's when you jump. And if you want to jump, that's fine. But sometimes you're going to be pumping along and then you just launch off of one and you're like, whoa, I was just trying to pump it. And next thing you know, you fly, you nose case, you die, right? You don't want that to happen. So notice these, take them slow. I'll go through it a little bit slower. I don't pedal on these. And the speed I have later on is all from pumping. And that's the power of this. Like, you guys can pump like crazy and just get stupid amounts of speed. You don't have to pedal. It makes your riding so much cleaner. All right, nice, slow, controlled pumping. So if your weight hasn't shifted back down by the time that you're starting to go down this thing, that's when you jump. You see how I'm jumping these now? Oh, she's gonna die. She's getting too smart. At first she wasn't smart enough. Now she's cutting me off, getting too smart. And so the next thing I want to point out to you guys, these you jump. These are designed for jumping. They've got a steeper lip right here. I don't know if you can see that, steep lip. Hi, Joey. These are designed for jumping. And the point I'm gonna make here is that how I'm telling you to compress before, uncompress on the way up, and compress on the way down gonna be exactly the same over this. Nick talks about this really in depth in bike school, but it's the exact same. The only difference, I mean, it's not the exact same. I say it's the exact same then, here's the difference. It's pretty much the same. The biggest difference is that when you uncompress coming off the lip, you hold that uncompressed form. So if you uncompress coming up and you stay uncompressed while you float over to the landing. That's the difference in pumping and jumping. They're the exact same motion though. The only thing is you stay in that uncompressed form and then you jump. It's crazy. I'm gonna go back over these the other way and hope I don't hit Joey. Hey. So before we get into jumping them, I do want to talk about cornering real quick. And just, if you stand there where Joey's at, you're gonna get destroyed. So don't do that. But there's a dog over there. With these, another thing you're gonna notice is that every single berm's different. So some berms are really steep, some berms are really mellow. This one is a pretty mellow berm. And so you're gonna hit this a little bit differently than you would hit a really steep one. And so for a mellow one, you want to be a little bit more conservative. You can't rip into the corner as much as you would a steep one, but I'll hit this a few times. I'll kind of show you, like, you know, the way to not die on it. You want to come medium, and then at the peak of the berm, you're going to hit like the highest part, and then you're throwing your weight back down and cutting down it so that you come nice and clean into the next set of rollers. So I'll go do that. So this one is just like a big roller, and I'm gonna hit it as such. This one right here. So I'll hit it just like that and kind of show you how to hit it just like if you were pumping. Uncompress on the way up and you'll literally just float over it. And I think it's important to kind of draw an imaginary dome over it. So from the lip, this is another thing Nick talked about that was really helpful. From the lip to the landing, imagine that it's a smooth dome and you're pumping over that whole thing. The only difference is the top of that dome is chopped off. And so you're uncompressing a little bit earlier than you would if it was a full dome and you're landing in there. But just imagine it's a full dome right there and you're rolling over it. That's exactly how you're gonna air it. Okay, so that's a little bit about pumping. That's my 12 cents there. I hope that hopefully this was a little bit helpful for you guys. It was a little bit sporadic, but I'm like, hey, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna ride the pump track, I'm gonna give you some tips, some advice while I do so, and yeah, that's what I got.